Good morning everyone. In this video I'm going to analyze the live price action for EU and DXY to see what opportunities may be available today. You're going to see my strategy and my analysis, so if you're interested in those then please stick around. Okay, we're starting off here on the daily. On the top is EU, on the bottom is DXY. So what do we see on the daily? Friday we closed out as this doji candle, kind of like a low test. Which is normal for Friday to close out in this way. However, if we read more into the story, we can see we took the buy side liquidity above this previous high. We have SMC divergence, which indicated possible signs of weakness, and we had an imbalance here below. So we can see price reach down deep into this imbalance, which meant taking sell side liquidity, and that of course has pulled price back to close just above the open as a slightly bullish candle. So sell side liquidity has been taken. However, there is some imbalance left there which could need to be filled, or price would just be continuing on that way anyway with that previous trend after buy side liquidity was taken. Now on DXY, obviously to cause this SMC divergence, DXY hasn't made that lower low, has a higher low, which is indicating possible strength on DXY. So of course we had the opposite. DXY had a bullish push deep into this imbalance, which the buy side liquidity of that obviously made it pull back and close out how it has. Now looking into today's price, so far we have taken a previous daily high on EU. We may be seeing some reaction there now, but obviously that means buy side liquidity from previous daily high, which may make price continue bearish for at least a short period of time. Previous daily low I believe is intact still on DXY. We'll see on a lower time frame. Maybe it's made some equal lows that could be swept, or maybe there's some divergence. We'll see that on a lower time frame. So okay, potentially we still have some imbalance left to fill, and possibly price wants to continue in that bearish direction with our SMC and higher time frame buy side liquidity. So let's see what the 4 hour shows us. So if we look into today's 4 hour price action, of course we have what I identify as the 4 hour leg here, this bullish leg, and this bearish leg here on DXY. Today we can see through Friday we pulled back from this area. So here we basically filled to 100% this 4 hour imbalance, right? So I'll put that red line there just to show that. So this 4 hour imbalance on DXY was filled, which caused this bearish engulfing. So at that time we had filled this area here. We didn't have the imbalance, but at this point we came down bearish, had that bullish engulfing reaction once DXY filled this area, and then overnight of course the market closed. Now into today we have come up through Asia and filled this 4 hour imbalance above, which it looks like we're currently rejecting. We took the buy side liquidity above previous daily high, hit this imbalance for buy side liquidity POI, and we are currently below that line, rejecting that area. If I just zoom in, so this may cause price to continue bearish, to come down into a discount, or at least to fill this imbalance here left behind, possibly as a POI to draw price. So as of yet, since taking this higher time frame buy side liquidity with SMC divergence, we haven't pulled back to much of a discount, just around this equilibrium area here, and the same on DXY. DXY has rejected this 4 hour POI and daily order block as well, pulled back, filled that imbalance. So at this time now, this is going to provide possible resistance, and we may see some support enter here on DXY to maybe pull back into more of a premium, say to this area here. These are all possibilities, of course, nothing set in stone, but right now it looks good that we are rejecting this POI. So it may favor a bearish bias, at least for this session or this day. So I think that looks good. We're in a premium, we're in a discount. The POIs aren't so as obvious on DXY, so we are running with the POI here on EU, which may be controlling direction here. I think DXY has made equal lows, so there is also going to be some divergence. We'll see on the lower time frame, which would indicate some strength on DXY. So I think that's all fairly obvious. We've got our POI attracting price, POI rejecting price as resistance. We're rejecting that here. We've taken buy side liquidity above this previous daily high, and of course we had our higher time frame POIs that would indicate us to move down to a discount. So possible bearish bias though. So let's go down to the 1 hour, see what that shows us. So here on the 1 hour, you can see I've annotated the SMC divergence, which is very clear here. We haven't made a lower low at this point in time on DXY. We've held that low here from previous daily low. We have swept, well, we have mitigated that previous daily high and imbalance on the 4 hour. And at the moment we have some bearish momentum. These previous 1 hour candles failed to close above that imbalance line as well, but the 4 hour candle is yet to close, so we'll see how that goes. So this could be an area, if we are going to pull back to this discount, this could be an area now, not confirmed till we break this low, that we're going to see a lower high form in structure on the 1 hour and 4 hour maybe. So I don't want to read too far into the future, but we have created what looks to be a trend line here for sell side liquidity, and we have these POI imbalances below which may need to get filled. So these are price draws again. DXY has the same price draws above, which is great. We have this liquidity consolidation here. So we're going to see how that goes, right? As of yet, we haven't taken that internal previous daily low sell side liquidity. We may do that first and then have a bearish reaction. However, we're just waiting on structure before we continue with our bias anyway. So potentially you could say this looks bearish after a pullback. I would say that's true. We've pulled back and we are now possibly making, internal lower lows, right, to continue with that bearish price action that we previously had, but nothing's set in stone just yet. I'm just going to go by the current day and the current confluences we have to trade with, which is now buy side liquidity, previous daily high, imbalance possibly being rejected. I think we've swept Asia, we'll see that on the lower time frame. So there's a lot of buy side liquidity, SMC divergence for weakness, and of course the higher time frame was saying we've taken buy side liquidity, let's head for a discount. Alright, so we got those rejected POIs here. So let's go down to the lower time frame, we'll see what structure is showing us. I'm slightly favoring that bearish bias due to these confluences and how price currently is. And we'll see what opportunities may be available for us today. Okay, here we are on the M15. The same annotations and confluences drawn in here. So we have the imbalance, SMC divergence, which is currently holding. We have this X here for the buy side liquidity, which Frankfurt looks to have swept, right? And we know the daily cycle is Frankfurt or London, would sweep one side of Asia and head for the other. Now, why that looks likely and looks good is because we have this trend line here with these internal lows. That would be good sell side liquidity targets after taking this buy side liquidity with SMC divergence, rejecting the possible imbalance, right? So yeah, I think that looks good. We have that daily cycle on our side, at least until we come down to this area. And we know on the higher time frames that we have imbalances here to fill. So I think that does look good. Now we may have broken structure on the 5 minute here. If we have a quick look. Yes, so 5 minute has broken structure, which is great. So why don't I start on the 5 minute today? So let's draw this out. We have an order block here. We have a break of structure on the 5 minute. We swept internal liquidity to the left, which caused that break of structure. We have SMC divergence. We have a high time frame imbalance. We have that Asia daily cycle. We have this sell side liquidity trend line. It would have looked great as well if we had swept the lows on DXY. So there is that danger of us wanting to pull back and take these lows, but we'll see what happens. Now we would prefer to have some sort of corrective pullback, maybe with an inducement there to trade short from. Now this is also possible inducement here. We slightly mitigated that imbalance there. I'll draw this inducement line here because we may create another one. Personally, I would set my order from this area here, stop loss above these highs here, because I think that makes the most sense, because it's like a cluster of order blocks, and I just used a recent high and that is that high there. So 3.5 pips ish, targeting personally 3% for me. You can target Asia lows or wherever you target, right? So I think this looks good for an immediate opportunity this morning. I'll probably set my order in a moment, So that's what I will concentrate on this morning. Let's go up to the M15, see if there's anything clearer. So yeah, there's a slight imbalance on the M15. The M15 breaker structure obviously isn't as clear. This is more of a 5-minute play because the M15 order flow is still bullish. So that's the danger there. We haven't swept the sell side liquidity on DXY, but I do think the 5-minute looks good, and with these confluences may be worth the risk. Now, if I remove these for a moment, what we may see is price pull back, take these highs again, and then break down, right? Which would also be great. And then we can get this pullback to an order block or POI on a lower time frame to trade short, going with my slightly favored bias. All right, so we have that there, possible inducement in the middle somewhere here, breaker structure here, and then we can set our order to go down, stop loss just above the high, like this. Now, where that will work more in our favor is the fact that we should have that previous daily low taken on DXY, then you'll have that breaker structure, and then you'll have similar pullback to do that. So I think both look good. I think both make sense. Those are the opportunities I see today. I hope you gained value from that. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon.